Hi everybody, John from PSI here, back with another episode on the new PSI Holley Terminator X Max wiring harness. And today we're going to look a little bit at some of the specifics of the harness. So this particular one is set up for 58X drive-by-wire with an EV1 injector. And all of our harnesses, just like our regular standalone harnesses, our Holley harnesses are pretty much going to do the same. You're going to have a grommet seal, so you're going to put a 2-inch hole in your firewall, wherever it's going to work for you based on where you're going to mount the computer as well as the fuse relay center. Drill that hole. You're going to feed everything for the engine compartment through that hole. The grommet seal slides, so it's going to end up going and snapping in place inside that hole for a nice weather-tight seal. You're going to lay the harness out on top of the engine. Everything comes out exactly where it needs to be. We're not just giving you some bulky connector with a spider of injector connectors. These injectors, as you can see, are coming out exactly where they need to be. Same with the coil connector. So you're going to use your factory coil sub harness that's on the valve cover. You're going to plug that in. You're going to plug each one of these in. You have your throttle body connector. You're going to have a constant power down by the big lug of your starter. This is what's going to power our fuse relay center. You got your crank sensor. You're going to have your map sensor, your inlet air temp sensor, engine coolant temp sensor. And then in this particular case, we do have it set up for a 4L80 where we have the connector for the transmission as well as your input speed sensor signal and your vehicle speed sensor signal. You got your knock sensor hookup. And then under the dash, you have your input-output wires for your boost control and things of that nature, just like the Holley harness would have, just a little bit cleaner of an install. You have your pedal connection, and then you have your computer connections. What you don't see here is your power, which Holley wants you to run directly to the battery. We mimic that because we know there are issues out there where people potentially have issues the way they hook power and ground to these systems. Again, that's just a Holley Terminator Max, we'll call it issue or specification requirement. So we just mimicked Holley in the way they did that. So we will provide you that harness and that will run directly to your battery just as Holley would. Our harness comes with full instructions, and as I said in the previous video, you can get this as a complete kit or you can get it just as a harness if you just want to upgrade an existing system. So when you look specifically at this harness and you look at the materials we use, that's where there's a big difference between this offering and the Holley offering. So we're using GM-spec TXL or GXL wire. We're using TechFlex braid, and we're using an adhesive-lined heat shrink in order to do the ends of each of the connector ends. As I said, everything comes out where it should. We have GM or Molex or Aptiv spec connectors. They're specifically made for automotive applications. This harness is 100% made by Americans in the USA and tested prior to being put on the shelf and shipped to you. So again, we put a lot of effort and time into this, not just in the layout, but also in the quality of the materials that we use and the quality of the skill that we put into our builders when they build them. So let us know what you think in the comments, or if you have any other specific questions about it, or if there's a video you'd like to see. And remember to wire it up and fire it up.